There must be no mercy. There must be no tolerance. None whatsoever. None. None at all. After my research and after my experiences, military wise, and understanding how evil spreads, how evil grows, how evil persists, I have come to the conclusion. I came to this conclusion a long time ago, but I'm far more motivated in my belief, far more opinionated in the belief, or strongly accepting of the idea that any and everything must be done to stop the cartels. If you look at how many drugs enter the United States every year, I think it's pretty obvious that around 300,000 people that die every year from drugs in the United States die because of the drugs coming from Mexico. Nitazines, carfentanil, fentanyl, cocaine, heroin, methamphetamines, and so on and on and on. All these drugs are coming from Mexico. If you look at China, you look at comparing the population to the death toll. It's the death toll from drugs in China or in other countries that have severe punishments for drug production and drug shipping. If you look at China and the death toll, it's far less than in the United States, and they have a huge population. But there needs to be a no tolerance policy when the new administration comes. There needs to be an absolute zero tolerance policy for cartels, for gangs, for mafias, anything to do with drug production, gun production, and distribution. There needs to be no tolerance at all. None whatsoever. None. 0% tolerance for rape, for mass murder, for drugs, guns, and terrorism, bombings and stuff. No tolerance whatsoever. No tolerance towards the new ISIS. No tolerance towards corruption in government and corporations. No tolerance whatsoever. None. Anybody caught, any cartel member or cartel affiliate, caught in our country or even found in Mexico by the U.S. military should be immediately executed or imprisoned for life. That's my belief. I think Trump's idea of sending special ops in for like a search and destroy operation on the cartel is a good idea, but I would take it about 10,000 steps further. I would threaten the Mexican government with all-out war, and I would force the Mexican government to allow American martial law in Mexico, maybe through using the Mexican military along with the U.S. military in conducting sweeping operations in literally every region of Mexico and even abroad, further down south, like in El Salvador, Colombia, Costa Rica, and other countries down south. And and I believe that these sweeping operations should involve, checking people's IDs, checking their passports, checking their bodies for gang tattoos, doing research on their friends and family to see if they affiliated with the cartel, or if they're in the cartel, and if they are, I believe they should be rounded up in massive numbers and either put in concentration camps and shot, all of them rounded up and shot in the head, or forced to work until they die, in my opinion. And it might sound extreme, but I believe that we can perhaps achieve this legally, through the Congress, the Senate. Maybe, I mean, it would have to go through the UN as well, or NATO, the United Nations. It's tricky. It would be tricky to impose such oppression on our cartel members and affiliates, but I believe it could be done. And if the Mexican government refuses to allow the U.S. military to conduct a search and destroy mission, then I believe that thermonuclear strikes should be conducted on Mexico City, to pretty much crush the entire government, as well as thermonuclear strikes on or thermobaric strikes, and other strikes of different types on Mexican military facilities, on air bases and naval bases and so on. And it might sound extreme, but most of the Mexican government has been infiltrated, and has been compromised by the cartels. And for that reason, I think that it's justified launching thermonuclear strikes on Mexico if the government refuses to let in the U.S. military. Imagine 9/11. How many people died during 9/11? Not quite 3,000 people. But you do 3,000 times 100, and you get, what is that, 300,000? So literally 100 9/11s happen every year, from these drug overdoses and deaths. Imagine 100 9/11s every year. That's how much death is caused by the cartels and the gangs. Now, there's gangs in the United States that are not really affiliated so much with the cartels. They just get their drugs from the cartels. There's a lot of American-born, American-made gangs in the United States, that are responsible for the selling, and in part responsible for the distribution of these drugs. And I believe the people in those gangs should just be rounded up and given life in prison without parole, and sent to fields to work for the rest of their lives. But I think when it comes to the cartel, those animals they're expendable, and they're most of them are low IQ, sociopathic, narcissistic, psychopathic. They can't be rehabilitated. They have an animalistic nature, and they've been indoctrinated by their fellow gang members, heavily indoctrinated, as well as most of the civilian population has been indoctrinated by the cartels in Mexico, and has the cartels have the support of the people, and for that reason, most of the Mexican population is expendable, in my opinion. And so, major search and destroy missions using like thermobaric bombs, and MOABs, and massive Tomahawk missile strikes, I think I think it's warranted. I think it's warranted, in my opinion. I think we should do everything in our power to stop the cartels. If that means launching thermonuclear strikes on Mexican military bases, and on major cities like Mexico City, then so be it. I think if we can stop the cartels that way, then let it be done. No mercy. I think that's what Trump should do. He should have a zero tolerance policy like China. You know what China does when they catch people selling drugs, making drugs, transporting drugs through China. They take that person, and they put them in court, and those drug dealers, drug producers, never win the court case in China. They never ever win. There's a zero tolerance policy. So if you're caught with drugs in China, you're given the death penalty, and they shoot you in the head, and you're done. And this is what should happen with any affiliates of the cartel. Man, woman, child, I don't care. It doesn't matter. Man, woman, or child, even if they're not in the cartel but they're affiliated with, they've helped the cartel, they should be rounded up and shot in the head. No mercy, none whatsoever, none, no mercy. This is what I believe. This is my opinion. I do think that we could legally wipe out massive cartel populations with neurotoxins and bioweapons, like napalm or sarin gas, or even use carfentanil, use their own drugs against them to massacre the cartels. I do think it is possible. A lot of them live in the forests, and I believe that because of those regions where the air is moist, I do believe we could aerosolize carfentanil or botulinum toxin, to a high degree, and spread it over these forests and jungles, and wipe out millions of cartel members quite easily. But those are just little ideas I'm throwing out. But anyway, either the Mexican government allows us to launch a search and destroy mission on the cartels, or we should start war with the Mexican government and launch nuclear strikes to immediately disable their defense forces, and what they need to survive. And we can do so without launching nuclear ground strikes. We can launch airburst strikes, nuclear EMP strikes to disable their electronics, and then hit them with massive missile attacks if the government refuses, which I believe is necessary. Some might call me an extremist. Some might call me a this or that, because of my opinions on dealing with issues. But the cartel is one of the most vile organizations. The cartels as a whole in Mexico, they're basically one big crime syndicate, one big crime family, all the different cartels. And this major crime syndicate, that which is basically almost Mexico in its entirety, is a very evil, repugnant, despicable, insipid, disgusting syndicate. It's by far one of the most vile ones, if not the most vile crime syndicate in the whole world. And we must do anything necessary to expunge all of them. Every single last one of them. Man, woman, child, baby. I don't care. If they're in the cartel, they die. This is my opinion. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Check out my other content, and I will see you in the next video.